Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. So in this video, we're going to have a fresh look at the FEWD Studio interface, essentially a getting started video. The most recent version release was 1.8.1, which just had some small interface changes. Now, for the most part, FEWD Studio is going to remain as it is. It's a really fantastic desktop code editor with a visual interface and lots of Astro compatibility and helpful features there. But obviously, there will be incremental improvements to the interface. Some are planned and some will obviously emerge due to user feedback. But enough time has passed since the last getting started or interface tour that I think a fresh look is warranted. A lot of new users have started with FEWD, and it's on my mind that I need to make sure there's an up-to-date video. So in this video, we'll have a look at getting a project started, have a look at how to manually connect up files, just so that you can know where different features are located. After that, it's you're always welcome to get in touch. Jump to the Facebook group. You can go to that from FEWDstudio.com. Join up there. There's not loads of activity in that group, but if a question is asked, then it's always answered. But of course, most people tend to contact me directly at support@FEWDstudio.com. And if you have something you're stuck on, just ask me, and I will come back to you. Okay, cool. So let's pop along to FEWD Studio, and when you first start up with FEWD, you'll put in your license key and everything, and obviously you won't have any recent projects. But the first thing you'll want to do is create a project. So just to set this clear, FEWD Studio is, it's not a cloud page builder. It's not in WordPress or on a server. It's a desktop code editor, and it was created when I was transitioning from the WordPress world to static and Astro, and I just wanted to bring some of the convenience of page builders, or that page builder feel and interface into the desktop, which currently wasn't in place. So that's why I created FEWD Studio. And it just needs to be remembered that it's a desktop code editor. We're working directly with local files. Okay, so that in mind, the first thing we need to do is set a project directory, and for this example, I will use desktop. So we simply click this button, and we can set somewhere as a project directory, and now it's the desktop. So the project that we create is going to be located on the desktop. Right, okay, I think we'll go for an HTML project. We could go with Astro, or we could go for an Astro and Shopify project, but we're going to do HTML now, so we can have a look at the creative mode interface first of all. So I'm just going to click on HTML and then add a new project. What should it be? New salon, and I'll create the project. Okay, cool. So that is created. What I'm going to do is jump along to my Finder, just so that I can demonstrate for you that if I go to desktop, there it is. We've got the local files here, and if I click in here, we see that FEWD has created the essential files that we need for a front-end web development project. So if you start any new coding course or anything like that, you will generally find that you need to create an index.html, something like a styles.css, and an app.js. Now, the Globals.css is in place because, again, I was creating FEWD Studio with best web development practices in mind, and that would be with variables and design tokens. So this is encouraging that workflow, and so as a default, FEWD will create the Globals.css, and that is actually linked to one of the default panels, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Okay, so those are the files that have been created, and FEWD immediately opens up. We've got a local host browser all set up, and we have a display. This is obviously a key differentiator from VS Code, where you'd have to set up live server or something along those lines. Now, this is a configuration issue. As a default, when you first fire up FEWD, you would have all of the default panels fire up with you. So we've got a set of default panels. Sorry, one more. Oh no, he is there, but he's minimized. Okay, so you'll have it looking something like this with the default panels there. So we've got index.html, that's our main template. We've got styles.css, and that's all connected up. Just remember, if you've used something like Bricks or Etch or a page builder like that, this styles.css, this panel, which is just happens to be connected to styles.css, is connected, is what you would use to edit a specific element by its class. So if I do new class, okay, this panel, this default CSS panel, is only taking the CSS for what is on this class. Okay, so it's class specific, and that's usually element specific. So you can see here that we've got everything starting to come together here. We've got the HTML, and then we've got the CSS. Okay, so that's a key differentiator there. That's more of the page builder experience. And so if I write padding 20 pixels, that will apply to that class only. All right, this is not a sort of a wider sheet. We can have a look at the wider sheet there by clicking on the globe, and we'll see the full list of our project. Or we can expand what's in the actual what's relating only to that class. That's a bit easier to look at a bit later on, so we'll do that. Okay, I'm just going to delete those elements for the time being, and we'll keep looking at the default panels. So we've got the index.html, the CSS, although this default panel is class specific. Then we have the app.js. Okay, obviously that's where we want to put our JavaScript. And then we have the assets folder. Okay, so again, we're working with local project files here. And what we would want to do is, I should say, down here, we've got a few different icons. We can go into our assets there, set directory, or at this point, it's best that we're going to our files, our like file explorer. And what we don't have here is an assets folder. So we happen to be on folder plus, and I can type assets, or you might want to do images. Okay, so a lot of people would immediately have images in their structure here, and I'll do that right now. So I've created an image folder, and if I then am on this assets folder and I click on this folder here, I can connect this up to the images folder. So that's something just to take note of. If we click on the icon at the top left of the panel, that is how we can actually attach to a file or folder in our project. In this case, we want to connect the assets to the images. Okay, and then I can drag an image off my desktop or any other folder and put that into my project. So if we take another look at our project in the Finder, we now have the images folder, and I've got an image in there that I just dragged in there. So, again, this is just how we can, handle all of the different aspects of our project. Now, again, this is the sort of thing you can achieve in VS Code, but it's more stop-start. You have to go out of VS Code really to handle your assets. This is all in one little interface, and it's all quite joined up. Now, if you're feeling like there's a bit too much going on and you want to minimize, you want to have wider panels, that's totally understandable. So what we can do is minimize the actual panels here. So if we take the assets one, minimize that down, we probably won't be using JS either, so I'll minimize that also, and that just tucks it off to the side there. I could, however, go to the user preferences, and we'll have a look at that in a moment, and just toggle off the JS and the assets, and then that's just not featuring on the panel at all. So you see there I've got more space, and then I can minimize others, and I've got more space to actually code and do what I need to do in the working panels. Okay, so just to recap there, first of all, start up a project. FEWD Studio will create a range of starter files and connect up the relevant files as much as it can, obviously, to that default set. If you want to change it, if you want to create a new JavaScript file or something like that, you can simply pop along to your file explorer here, and you can create another file. So let's do another .js and enter. Okay, that's now created, and if I pull my JS file panel back, my default one, okay, we've got this here. I can connect this up. It currently is app.js, but I can click on the file and connect it to the other one and then edit from there. Okay, happy days. Rightio, before we move on, let's have a quick look at Globals.css, because these default panels, they have particular functions in the page builder type of setup. Okay, so obviously FEWD is trying to encourage a particular type of workflow, and one of those is Globals.css, or whatever you want to call it, with your variables and your design tokens. So this is where you would put your CSS framework. Now you could pop along to Core Framework, which is now open source. You can create your CSS framework and you can simply paste it here. If I click on the expand icon, then you can put your entire CSS framework here, and that works perfectly. Or we can open up what's called Gen CSS, which is a companion app for FEWD Studio. And if I click on the plus at the bottom, you can see that it's very similar to FEWD Studio, but I want to connect an existing file. Okay, so if I click through to that and go to my desktop, I can find the current project that we're in, which is New Salon. Click in there and find my Globals.css and click open. We are now editing the Globals CSS file located in this project. Okay, now just like ACSS or other CSS frameworks, we can use the interface on the left hand side to establish our colors, to establish our color assignments and tokens. We can play with our typography. That would include, if we've created an assets folder and a fonts folder and added the font files locally, we would want to define that in here. So we may want to add a headings typeface, for example, maybe Montserrat. We would have placed the Montserrat files in /fonts/ and then Montserrat, and type that here. I obviously haven't done the files, but just as an example, and you can see there that now we've altered something. We've created all of the CSS. Okay, so that's what that would look like. And then for display, or headings as most people would call it, we would use something, we would set it up like that. All right, obviously that's not coming through at the moment. I don't have the files in the project folder. But yes, that's all good. Now, obviously, as well, as you can see, we've got a preview, and that can give you an immediate idea of how the settings will look on your actual site. So this is a really easy way to codify your design system. And so, you should have all of this figured out with your branding and your branding decisions. And essentially you want to create your buttons and your links and your variants in this, and then it produces this CSS framework for you to use. It has all of the a complete shade system and transparency system for your colors. It has fluid settings for your typography and for your spacing, a few utilities, and user space for you to add your own elements and your own styles. There's also CSS Studio, where you can do things like create your own gradients. You can add that to a class, and I'll have to demo this in another video, but essentially you can create a new item, such as maybe a gradient, and it produces the CSS for you. And so if you then copy that CSS and put that into your utilities, and then I'll search new class. Oh, apparently I'm not going to find it. Why not? Oh, I didn't push the file. Silly Billy. You see that we've located that, and we've got that for use, that new gradient that we've created, we've got that for use in our project. Okay, cool. So all of that is pushed to file, and if I now remove or minimize Gen CSS, it's produced my CSS framework, and FEWD Studio has picked that up and said, oh, Globals.css, the one linked to this default panel, has changed externally, so should I reload? And we want to say yes, do that, and it loads in our CSS. All right, so Gen CSS is really absolutely fantastic. Again, obviously a CSS framework is a CSS framework. You've got to choose the one that's right for you. You might be a core framework fan, you might be a CSS fan, and there are ways to output that code if you want. This is a good way to just constantly have it all connected up. You can always go back to it, make some adjustments, add a new utility class, push to file, and we're working on the same files, and that's the magic of this. Gen CSS also comes in a WordPress plugin as well. Okay, cool. So that's how to use Global CSS. Obviously, I'll just expand that, and you can see that you can have a full modal to work with in here. And obviously, if you are going to alter something, you need to be doing that in spaces where there are user spaces. Okay, so you can make alterations and additions within the user spaces there. Try and think of something I can just add here. I don't know, I just have to make up a button form class, color blue, okay, and then I apply the changes. And if I pop back to Gen CSS, the app, it's doing what FEWD did and said Global CSS was changed externally. And if I move my face out of the way, I can hit reload. Okay, and I think that was button card something. Button card. No, what did I type? I don't remember what I typed. Great example, Chris. Okay, but that's not going to be great. I'll search in here in the cards section. I think it was in the cards. User section. Oh dear. Button form class. Oh, forms, not cards. Let's find that. There we go. Okay, so it's bi-directional, and you see that it's appearing there in the code there and also in the custom CSS option. Okay, cool. Right, so you've got a nice idea of how that works. The benefit of that is that both of these are simply code editors serving different purposes. So FEWD has given us default sets of files, and we've got default panels. Okay, we can also add further panels should we wish. So for example, we have another .js currently. If we click on the icons down here, we've got HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and any other. So you would use this to connect to possibly an EMV file, okay, that was in your that might be in your system, but you can connect this to any other file, and these ones you can just actually click off. Okay, if we open the JS one and we click on the icon up here, we can now have both of our JS files open and editable. And of course, we can minimize the others. If we minimize them, they fling off to the right if you've got that set in your preferences. And now we're able to just simply work on the panels that we want to work on. Okay, cool. And this is one of the cool things, it's not tab hopping like in VS Code. Everything is here in just one nice interface. You're able to pop along from your template to your CSS and whatever, arrange it all as you would wish. Okay, cool. So this is this is the default panel, and this is an additional panel. So I can close that one and remove it. If I click on the other styles one, we're going to use that in a moment. The JS one, that's a default panel, and so is the globals. Now, with a lot of your projects, once you've got your globals set up and your JS, a lot of what you're going to be doing is generally HTML and CSS, and so you might. You probably want to have these minimized or closed altogether. So if we pop along to the user preferences, we can toggle off the JS one. It's, obviously it's not changing the file, it's all still there. We can remove the assets one, obviously, and then the select a CSS or the globals. So we can just tidy up our interface. So that looks a lot nicer as we are. Okay, cool. Let's stick with user preferences quickly, just to have a look at these. So we've got the editor size. You can change the text size there. So we've got the default, or change it to large. This is in the display area here. Let's go top to bottom, I think. So functionality, auto connect index file. This is if you open up a project from the starter page, it should locate, or it will try to locate, the index file and connect that as the main template. So I'm going to click on New Salon again and open project, and I'm all connected up. That's good. Back to preferences and to have a look at these. Add content container to section div. Now what this is specifically for Gen CSS, and so if we have a look at Gen CSS and content container, you'll see that is this is connected to the container width and to the site width. Okay, so this is how you can control the site width with Gen CSS layout. So if I pop to layout, we would be able to change it here, max width. Okay, and that would tie that into created containers. So if I create a section, which we'll get to in a moment, you see on this div here, we have div content container, and that's pulling in the site width from Gen CSS. Okay, cool. And then manual save. I liked the auto save in all of these, but if you prefer to manually save, and a number of users did, then you would make your changes and then you need to hit save. Otherwise, it's not going to save. FEWD by default, when manual save is off, whenever you are actually editing, it is editing and saving into the file. And some people felt a bit uncomfortable with that, but that's how the preview works. And that's why that's very different to VS Code. And so I feel that it's one of the advantages to be able to have the page builder feel on a desktop coding app. And so that's why that actually exists. So now we can just type what we want and it appears just like on a real page builder experience, but on our desktop coding system. Cool. Back to user preferences just to understand what's there. Layouts, you can do the operations bar on the right or the structure panel on the left. Project panel docked. So some people preferred the idea more of the project panel with the file explorer and the assets and the prompt engine to be visible at all times. Totally fine. And so that's more of a VS Code kind of feel. And that's the project panel docked. If you have it all set up like this, you can just click this icon and that comes out there. Goodio. Sort collapsed panels to edges. This is my preference. I didn't think it would be, but if we have the panels open, and we minimize them. So if I minimize my globals, the globals would remain there. Same with the JS as well. If you just minimize it, it would stay there if I had another external panel there. So you can see that they hug just in that location. And to be honest, I actually quite like it. I'm going to leave it like that because sometimes it annoys me that they fling off, but it is convenient to just tidy up the interface. So you'll have to decide what you like there. If I go back to this, sort collapsed panels to edges, that's done. Terminal will spin off to the left. Interface, high contrast. Okay, so most people want this turned on, and then we have typography for settings for more of the interface as well. So in the panels we have editor size typography. Okay, but interface is where you find the typography for the rest of the interface, obviously. Panel color, I'll just want to save it as it is, but you can make it as disco as you'd like it to be. Okay, so play around with these, see what you like. You can change out the border color. If you want to go a bit retro, that's totally cool. Or maybe just a little slight gray. It looks a bit dated, but retro, nice. Text color, obviously, make it how you like it, and keep high contrast on, probably. Okie doke, right, and then the panels, we've already seen that. Okay, so those are the user preferences. We've also done the initial project setup and the default panels and their kind of function and how to play around with those, how to add extra panels, and we've also had a look at the file explorer with the assets and the prompt engine. We need to look at another time, but we can also move that to the edge. So there's a quick recap of everything. Okay, before we move on to the functionality of this a little bit and how create something, just want to run you through a couple of other little functions. First of all, up here we've got a terminal, and this is how you can integrate Claude or your chosen AI, coding AI, by way of the CLI. So I love using Claude just in the terminal, and now we have AI available and able to help us with our project. And to be honest, if you've not yet done my front-end web development course, just so you can learn the fundamentals of actual coding and creating by hand, I recommend you do that. But the best workflow these days is to get Claude involved and create entire websites using Claude. But see other videos on my YouTube channel, on my Chris Good Online YouTube channel, and you will see how to keep AI Claude here constrained and resourced so that you are creating scalable and maintainable websites. And that is the magic of AI assisted coding as opposed to vibe coding, because when token price for Claude goes way through the roof, us freelancers and small agency owners, we're going to need to then maintain our own websites. I fully believe this, and so it's best that they are built to web development standards so that we can do so. AI makes great websites, but they're bad under the hood, so I encourage you to have a look at that. As well as terminal, we have a push to Git button. Okay, so you can initialize through the terminal, and then you just have to type here and it would push to GitHub. You can export your the HTML of your produced page. Okay, and so for that you might be able to take that into Bricks or other builders. So in that sense, there's a compatibility with WordPress, and then obviously we've seen this icon as well. Then we've got the user preferences, and if you want to go to FEWD Studio or documentation, you can do. Goodio. Down here we have creative mode, and we have framework mode. Okay, this is what we need to use when we're working with Astro. When we are building components that we can use in Astro later on, or we're building UI systems, or we're building static HTML sites, we can use creative mode, which gives us the page builder functions and the structure panel over here. This is not currently possible in the Astro system on the desktop code system that FEWD has, but creative mode is great for building out components, getting those visuals done, and using all of this. Or you can build full static pages using HTML with creative mode and either components or full HTML. I know that's a lot of information. I hope that makes sense. On the full HTML, you can play with your head content here and your footer content here, but all of the default panels and the default files would go in there automatically. Okay, so maybe we want to add the JS one. Okay, so we've got it has added another .js. Although now I'm wondering why is the other one not there, but I'm just having a brain blur moment. Okay, no worries. Right, okay, now let's have a look at how this actually works. Obviously, we want to create new pages, and so we would add it in a section, and then we can add in different elements. So maybe we want an H1 if I, if I then hover over the text function, I can then add a paragraph. Now that hasn't added it in there. But if I hold down, always forget Command and press the button, then it keeps it in here as a child element. Okay, so you can put all of your items together, and then perhaps using BEM methodology would be a good idea. And so we can add a class, and we go hero, and then if we click on the item inside it, we've got a BEM suggestion here. Okay, so we can either apply that or we can make a change. So I'm going to apply that one. I could add an additional class if I wish. I'm going to add hero heading. I'm going to add hero text. That works. And then maybe on this one, I don't want to use the BEM. So I'm just going to click and I'm going to go hero notice, something like that. And now I have full BEM methodology all played out on my new section. Okay, that's all good. We're ready to rock and roll and start styling everything. So we would like to style on the classes. Just want to quickly note that we can do it down here if we wish. We can add something else, and you see that that adds into the structure panel. We could be like, nope, actually that's wrong. So we would like to do hero another notice and add that in, and that's adding into the HTML here. Okay, we've got IDs. And of course, if we need to add anything else, we can code that straight in. I just want to show you that we can, expand the modal if we want to get all full code. All working well. That's great. Now let's go down. Let's look at an insert. So if I click on this puzzle piece here, we have a few different inserts that we can add in. I've already got a hero section, but let's say I didn't want to use that. Let's use the review section. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and we've got a preview of this entire section created out. This is a HTML semantically correct review section. It's perfect. I researched it live on one of my videos on chriska.online. And if we add that in there, everything goes in there ready for us to use. Okay, cool. What we don't have yet are the classes. Okay, so let's do review, and then review inner, review heading, that works. Review lead. I won't carry on this one, but you can see that the BEM suggestion is going to help us with all of this. So maybe I will. Yeah, right, that works. Okay, so now let me show you that we can styles.css. We can add styles onto the selector. Okay, so if I click on an element, you see the selector move around there. Okay, and let's just add something here like font size, and I won't connect. I won't use my. Let's make it bigger just so that we can see. Whoa. 3, color blue. Okay, and that is adding into the header here. Why is that? Let's have a look. Our review section title, nothing compares to the energy here. Oh, okay, I've added that to two pieces. Let's have a look at that one. So I don't want that to be on that one. I want this to be review H3. I don't think it should have, no. Review item title. I think it was that. Okay, cool. So you can see that we're adding all of that in well there. So you can see how all of that works. There's nothing in here currently because I don't have, I'm not selected on an item that has content. So this is the one. If I go to section hero and I go background pink, height 300 pixels. Okay. Again, if I click off onto another item, I'm not seeing anything in this panel. I could open up another file and I could connect that to styles.css and we'll see that, and I'll expand that. You see that we've got all of the different items all there ready to receive content, and obviously only some of them do. If I close that one down and I click on the globe here, you see that we're able to see the full thing here. So hero heading color green, apply the changes, and then if I find hero heading, you see that that's in there as well. So it's all kind of connected to one another. Cool. So that is really how to use FEWD Studio, and you know, that's from starting a project from scratch. Don't forget that you have the inserts on the HTML. And when you go into the Astro builds and everything, you know, there are some additionals. There are some SEOs as well, just to get some of those essential bits together. You know, we're ground up building in this desktop code editor. And so, you know, we need to take care of all of these different bits. But these are just helpful shortcuts for you to be able to take. Now, I should show you, actually, if we take card C, that'll be one, or we'll do hero. So if I pop down here and I go /hero and then enter, that's actually added in the hero section. Okay, we can do that with CSS. If I click on the puzzle here, CSS also has its own inserts. And so if I clicked test, yeah, so it's done that. So test is a little snippet. Okay, now if I go test, it adds in the snippet there. If I don't often use these, so I've actually forgotten them. Flex C. Okay, adds in the snippet there. You can also add your own custom snippets. So if I click on custom right now, you can see I've got some examples in here. So if I maybe I really like the color green and I'm going to use it a lot, and I go to custom, and oh god, I've actually forgotten how to do this. Plus, there we go. Color green and color green, save insert, and now I have color green, which is a really stupid one because it's got a space in it, which isn't so great. Maybe I should have tested that. Color green. No, that doesn't work. That's totally fine. Let's do another one. So really I need to make it there so that it won't allow spaces, don't I? Color green, save insert. Cool. Now let's have a look at this. Yay. Okay, right, no spaces. Right, okay, that's all hunky-dory. That's all working well. Okay, let's, I hope that's a good introduction for you. Obviously, you know, there is a lot there, but that's the basics of it. Oh no, sorry, I forgot the touch bar. So this is mainly brought about for Astro builds, so that you still get the convenience of the page builder. But when you hover at the bottom here of the panels, you get a touch bar, and that's going to give you a range of different bits. So you can insert a new section, and it leads from where the cursor is, or does try to predict it. Okay, so just keep a little eye on it, but it's a really great convenience. If I go there again and I go heading 2, then we add in the heading 2. Okay, and maybe we'll add a paragraph in there as well. And you might have to give it a little bit of assistance, but we have everything here from image, SVG. Maybe you want to add in a video. It's all there to do. And I should also mention that in terms of those functions, we do have we have the images, SVG, video, and iframes. Okay, all available there. We also have that with the touch bar on the CSS. All right, so you might want to just chuck something together here. Maybe you want a 2-column grid, and you can just put that in nice and easily. Add in justified content and align items. It's all done there really quite quickly. Put a shadow in there. You get the idea. Play around, get comfy with it. This is pulling through my variables. And weight 5. Okay, so very easy to do, and it's put all of that onto the selector there. Okay, now framework mode. You can work in framework mode if you wish. Obviously, you've got things like emit here. So you've got the inserts, you've got emit, and in Astro you've got IntelliSense as well. So yeah, all standard code features are here. It's hard for me to remember everything, to be honest, but that's why the documentation should be more comprehensive. Okay, let me think. Yeah, so we've got emit. There's something else that I'm forgetting right at this point in time, but no matter. All right, let's have a quick look at an Astro project. Okay, so I'm going to take us to, don't know if that's no, let's go to Boosh Astro. Yeah, Boosh Astro. That's my agency site. Okay, so this is opening up in 4321, and it's opened up here. If you've got something else open on 4321, it will go to 4322, and you might just have to edit that there. It will let you know where that is. Astro, we're not going to go too much in depth. Obviously, we're in framework mode right now. You can navigate around the site as you would in the preview. So yeah, all very good. You can make your changes and check out what you need to do. Now, this is quite unlike anything else that I've seen with Astro builds and everything, aside from cloud builders and all of those, which get all quite complex. But this is desktop coding, and I feel that this is quite unique for it. You can open up your project folder here, your project explorer. And then you are able to look at your pages in your Astro project, and you can open that up in the main as well. So if we want to have a look at the about, I can either open it up in a panel, and it will open the Astro file in just a panel, okay, like so. So now it's there, and I can expand it, I can edit it, I can do anything I want to do, and apply the changes when it's in that modal, and then save that to with GitHub, or if you prefer, you can open up the pages here and you can connect to the main. Okay, so now that switches the template and what we're viewing to the about page. And of course, we can edit all of that as well. So I'm just going to minimize these. I've got the about.astro open here. And I've got it open in 2 places now. Cool, right. So the other thing we have is components. I believe in Astro you should be building with components, and so we have a component editor here. So if I if we click onto the components icon, or we may well be using the sidebar here as well, we can connect straight to a component. Do that, and it opens up the Astro file and the CSS, or just the Astro file if that's all you're using. I separate the two. Yeah, that's cool. So otherwise, you can click into the component and you can open up just one of the items in a panel. The other thing you can do is create a new component. So click Add Component and add, I don't know, feature grid cards. I have to do something I'll just delete later. And then you can either create a file version of it, which is where you have the Astro file of it and then the CSS, or you can have the folder version, which I've got here. So it will create the Astro and then the related CSS in a folder. Okay, so click whichever one you want. I don't want to mess with my live site and make it messy. But yes, you've got a creation tool there for your Astro components. Then we've got layouts, so you can create new layouts in the same way. All right, so much easier to do this, and it will create the front matter as well. So that gets you going. And then you've got an asset manager as well for your Astro projects. Big thing, you need to check this out on chrisgood.online, my actual YouTube channel. But we've got the prompt engine here, so you can turn everything on here and it formulates the prompt that helps you create sites in minutes using Claude. And again, they're built with what best web development practices in place. So you can edit it later using BEM and design tokens and variables. It's human editable Claude created sites. And that is the big thing about why FEWD was created. It wasn't to not create sites with Claude code. I love doing it. I think it's the way we have to work, but it's to keep AI on a leash, to make AI do it properly, and then to enable us to jump into one of our projects, and we can now just fly around all of the files as we need. We can edit the CSS, we can edit the content. If you've hooked this up with Sanity, clients can edit the content that side, and you can also do that. In fact, I will quickly I've shown you on other videos. I will follow that up. But yeah, everything is all here for you to use, all in one interface for Claude created sites, AI empowered sites, and human editing afterwards. I think that's the big woohoo that FEWD Studio manages to achieve, and that is what I'm doing in my workflow. Cool. Right. So I will leave you with that. I hope that that's a helpful interface tour. Obviously you can run around all the chapters as you need, and I hope that that's given you the getting started that you need. Please do remember to make use of the Facebook community that is there. Join up, and if you ask any questions there, I will answer them. And a thriving, happy community there is a totally great thing to have, but it's there if people want it. Like I say, I get most inquiries coming through to support@fewdstudio.com, and that's totally fine. Throw them forward to me, and I'll do what I can to help you. Cool. Any thoughts? Please do let me know. Comment below on this video as well, but do let me know of any tweaks, refinements, anything like that. Obviously, if you're enjoying FEWD and you like how this is looking, please do share it with people. Please do speak with people about it. Please do post about it with other people or make your own tutorials. That would really help what's going on with this and keeping it going. Right. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.